Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Nerdy Multiverse and yet another video. Ever since Avengers Endgame came out, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been pretty split, to say the least. Projects after projects have been released over the past few years, whether they were more films or a brand new series to watch on Disney+. Throughout those years, the fandom has been completely divided. And so have the projects themselves. It has been a long era of hit or miss when it comes to releases. Fans enjoying some things and fans despising some things. And honestly, it has been more of disliking projects as of lately. I have personally experienced that myself. It's brought on a sort of feeling of not really being entirely excited for Marvel projects anymore, but still going in to see them, just not having that same excitement anymore. So, with all of that being said, ever since it was announced and we finally got the teasers and trailers, we have all been asking that question. Can Deadpool 3, aka Deadpool and Wolverine, really save the MCU? Or at least get it back in the right direction? Well, the movie is out now and I just got out of the theater from seeing the movie myself. And I would like to give my thoughts on it and how it may affect the future of the MCU. And how it also affects the past few years and the misses along the way. Now, before we begin, I do want to let you know that I will not be including spoilers in this video. The movie is one of the most anticipated movies of this year, and I do not want to talk about any spoilers, as there are a ton in the movie. However, I may make another video in the future discussing the actual spoilers, especially the surprises that we got. Now, I just wanted to start off by saying I was not a fan of Multiverse of Madness, and I always thought that it was really not deserving of that title. It was not a crazy multiversal film, and that brings us into Deadpool and Wolverine. This movie is what Multiverse of Madness should have been. The amount of surprises that we got in this film was amazing. Of course, we saw quite a few of them in the trailers themselves, like Daphne Keene's X-23 or Laura, and some of the other X-Men movie characters returning. But there was much more than just them. And they did such a great job keeping them all under wraps and a true surprise for all the fans. Every time one of these characters was introduced on screen, the theater cheered or clapped. Each of the surprise cameos made so much sense, and they all had a great dynamic and tie-in with Deadpool and Wolverine. Now, speaking of those appearances, we did see Laura in the trailers, so it's not a spoiler, and it was great seeing her back after 7 or so years now. Her story was once again great in this one. And it really tied in with Wolverine's story and his internal conflict that went on throughout this movie. Which, by the way, was another great addition to the film as it was very emotional. I do, however, wish we just got a bit more of Laura. But now that she is back, I am sure she is here to stay. And there are tons of stories that they can explore with her character. We also saw all of those Deadpool variants in the trailers, and man, were those all super fun. They didn't play a huge role in the movie, but they made for tons of great action sequences and, of course, comedic moments. With any superhero movie, we have an antagonist or supervillain. In this film, we had Cassandra Nova. And they stick to her comic roots, being Professor X's quote-unquote twin. Emma Corrin portrayed Cassandra Nova incredibly well. Her emotion and power was very clear, but again, the same thing that I said with Laura. I wish we just got a little more of Cassandra. Of course, the title of the movie itself is Deadpool and Wolverine. we have that iconic duo throughout the entire movie. And they did a wonderful job with keeping the same amount of focus on each of them. There was never a dull moment where you felt it's more of a Deadpool movie or more of just a Wolverine movie. It truly felt like a Deadpool and Wolverine film. Seeing Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine was extremely nostalgic, and in this movie he may have had his best performance as the character. He did a mind-blowingly great job at balancing out each of the different aspects of the story and the character and all of the emotions within. If the scene was comedic, he was comedic. And if it went straight into a serious or emotional scene right after, he would do a great job there as well. And as for Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool, well, it's the usual thing we get with him. What we have gotten in the past 2 Deadpool movies. Some serious moments, but loads and loads of funny moments, as is with the character of Deadpool. And their dynamic together was incredible. The way that they developed into a great team was awesome to see, and I seriously cannot wait to see them even more. Now, with any Deadpool movie, and really any Marvel movie at this point, there is the aspect of comedy. There was a little worry with them moving the Deadpool franchise into the actual MCU, and how that may affect the maturity in it and the comedy itself. But they kept to their roots. There were really no corny jokes that were just annoying to hear like some Thor movie jokes would go. All of the jokes in this movie were funny and made the entire theater I was in laugh out loud. It was truly a Deadpool movie. I really loved the aspect of comedy where they constantly made fun of the bad stuff we have been getting these past few years. And also the past bad decisions, projects, etc., even before the MCU itself. Also how they basically used all of the comedy as well to lay some things to rest, if you know what I mean. Unfortunately, with just how fun this movie was, there is that aspect of an actual plot and storyline and the pacing with it. And unfortunately, that was one of the weaker points of the movie. I'm not saying it was bad, but the pacing was a bit odd at times and the story wasn't extremely fleshed out as much as it could have been, and truly it's just the matter of time really. If they just made some of these movies even just 30 minutes longer, this could all be fixed. But honestly, the Deadpool films were never really super plot strong. They have always just been a blast of fun. And that's what this was as well, but tenfold. There were some moments that definitely dragged on a bit too long, which likely affected the actual storytelling, which goes along with the point of just making these movies just a bit longer. But also there are certain scenes that I wish we got to see a bit more of, if you know what I'm talking about. And this movie had some of the best action sequences we have gotten in the entire MCU. The choreography was just great and every battle was just so entertaining and of course, being Deadpool, bloody. This movie also ended off in a great and emotional manner that made you feel happy for the characters and their overall arcs and what the future possibly entails for them. It definitely leaves you wanting more and more from the characters. And of course, the fourth wall breaking was also really great. And funny as usual with characters like Deadpool. Oh yeah, and this movie had one of the best and most entertaining openings in comic book movie history. It was so much fun. Now, there is that big question. Does the Deadpool and Wolverine movie save or redeem the recent negative aspects of the MCU? In my opinion, no, it does not. At least, not entirely. However, I will say that I do believe it is a breath of fresh air and a great step in the right direction. They did a great job actually addressing those projects that have overall been considered as just bad or disappointing, and laying other things to rest. It also actually felt like a real multiversal film. But the thing is, will they continue down this road? Will some of these multiversal things matter in the future, or was this movie a one-time savior? And could Captain America: Brave New World just bring us back to that usual disappointing stuff? Obviously, we will have to wait and see, but I certainly hope it does not go back to that, and I do have a feeling that they have finally realized their mistakes and continue to go down this path. But overall, my thoughts on this movie, it was a very, very fun movie. And it was really a love letter to hardcore Marvel fans. There were some flaws, of course, as no movie is perfect after all. But honestly, all of the great aspects overshine the bad ones. I really liked this movie. The acting was great, the action was great, and the surprises were amazing. And all in all, it was a great movie and probably will contend for one of the movies of the year. But it is definitely the best superhero project that has come out this year. But if I had to rate the movie, I think that I would give it an 8 or 8.5 out of 10. And I will say, if you are a Marvel fan or superhero fan in general, this is a definite must watch. And honestly, even if you aren't, I think it's still a great watch. And I'm certain that you will not be disappointed. But I think that about does it for this movie, from me at least. But of course, I would also like to hear your thoughts on the movie Deadpool and Wolverine as well. So make sure to leave them down below. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed our review, don't forget to give it a like. And with that being said, we will see you all the next time that we go through and explore the nerdy multiverse.